Look, I think first of all, Donald Trump is the leader of the Republican Party because he received billions of votes, and Donald Trump has been explicit that he wants to promote a culture where life is welcomed into this community, into our country. He supports fertility treatments. He wants to make them more accessible. He's been crystal clear on that. Now, that said, I think that it's ridiculous that Democrats are saying that Donald Trump wants to take their fertility treatments away, when in reality, Democrat policies have made it harder to afford children, made it harder to afford a home to put those children in, made it harder to afford the groceries with which to feed those children. Their policies have been a nightmare, and so they're trying to scare Americans with promises and threats that Donald Trump is going to take away their fertility treatments, when in reality they're saying that because they don't have any solutions to the problems of America. Senator. A couple things really powerful tonight. One, he reminded Pennsylvanians that though Kamala Harris is running away from the record at every single step, she wants to ban fracking. Kamala Harris has been explicit about wanting to ban fracking, and she couldn't explain why she allegedly flip-flopped on a piece that she held just a few years ago. If you ban fracking like Kamala Harris wants to do, it's going to immiserate and impoverish thousands of Pennsylvania citizens, and it's going to jack up energy prices. By the way, even higher than they've already gone up, because thanks to Kamala Harris's policies, we've got energy prices that are about 40% higher. They're going to go a lot higher if she puts a lot of Pennsylvania crackers out.
A lot of people, not only in the United States, but in
Watch my hair, guys.
Yeah.
They want to know what will happen in Ukraine, what will happen in Israel. Did they get a fair answer? What do you think?
Well, I think what they got from Kamala Harris again is more platitudes. What's your actual plan? She actually was bragging that Joe Biden sent her to Ukraine to stop the war from happening, and then Donald Trump very smartly pointed out, well, you were sent there to prevent the war from happening, and then it happened 3 days after you left town. Clearly, there's some weak leadership there and some incompetence there. I think the real difference. Excuse me, sir. Can I answer the question? What Donald Trump has said very explicitly is that smart leadership and smart diplomacy will create a world at peace. It did when he was president, and I think that's his plan again. Now, to be clear, Ukraine and Russia, the whole situation is a disaster. What you need is smart diplomacy to get Europe and America and Ukraine and Russia out of that conflict and back on a footing of peace. Donald Trump's already had successful diplomacy. He's going to do it again when the American people elect the president in a few months.
Can you not tell us what's going to stop the war in Gaza after 40,000 casualties? I mean, of course, the Biden administration and Vice President Harris did a very good job. What is going to make a difference?
Well, look, I think what President Trump has said very specifically is, one, you need to give Israelis the precision-guided weapons so that you don't have a lot of unnecessary civilian casualties. Kamala Harris says that she wants to cut down on civilian casualties, but her foreign policy has actually led to a lot of Palestinian civilians being killed. It's also prolonged the war. It's also strengthened Hamas. It's like a lose-lose-lose foreign policy, but again, that's the incompetence of Kamala Harris. Yeah. Well, I don't think that no one has spread false claims. What they've said is that a small migrant community, 20,000, so it's big for the city of Springfield, but it's small compared to all Haitians in the United States of America, that small migrant community has caused a lot of problems. It's led to higher rates of communicable diseases. That's a verifiable fact. It's led to animals disappearing. Many of my constituents have said that has been happening. It's led to higher home prices. That is a verifiable fact. So this influx has led to a lot of poverty in Springfield. No, let me finish. Let me finish the question. Excuse me. City officials have said that's not true. That's not actually accurate. What they've said is that there's no
evidence that immigrants are eating animals, and you have been saying, and Donald Trump has said on stage that they are eating animals.
Would you like me to answer the question, or would you like to keep interrupting me? Can you answer the question? Can you ask the question and then let me answer it?
Yes.
The city manager said there's no verifiable evidence. A lot of residents on the ground have said that there is. That just means the city manager, I think, isn't fully in touch with what's going on the ground there. I've heard from many of my own constituents who've seen these things with their own eyes, who've seen these abductions with their own eyes, who've seen geese being taken out of local parks and slaughtered in front of their eyes. What do I think is a bigger problem? Insulting 20,000 people, or the fact that my constituents can't live a good life because Kamala Harris opened the border? I think it's Kamala Harris needs to do her job and make people happier and healthier in this country.
Last question, guys. Last question.
Hey, guys, chill out, please. I'm gonna answer this question. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. So my question for you is, do you think Donald Trump did a better job in this debate than he did in his previous debate back in June? And do you think he made a difference with undecided voters?
Well, his debate opponent, I will say one thing for her, she had a pulse unlike his opponent a few months ago, so I think that there was that big difference. But look, I think what we revealed here is that Kamala Harris is a candidate of platitudes. There's no substance. There's no ability for her to talk about how her record lowered grocery prices or housing prices, because her policy raised housing prices and raised grocery prices for Americans. So I think what we saw was Donald Trump. He was crisp. He was clear. He had a real vision for what to do to take this country forward. He also has a record that he's proud of. And the biggest difference between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump is they both have records. Donald Trump's proud of his. Kamala Harris is ashamed of hers, and rightfully so.
Last question, Senator.